All right, welcome back to Transition Point. Again, I'm your host, Dr. Jeff Kaluyu. For those who are joining us now, this is Transition Point. We are always on the air every Saturday, 1 to 2 p.m. on WOL 1450. You can also catch us up on HD2 on AM radio. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Transition Point. Let's go to work. Supermarkets and etiquette. I am leaving everything to the field. Today, when I talk of a topic, I go deep. I go to the bone. That's where we are going today. So, my observations on the grocery stores. And remember, we're still going to be going to talk about, I'm going to be teaching a lesson. How business, after this, how businesses need to know they are doing what they are supposed to do and they are where they're supposed to be. It's called measures of performance. We did revenue statements, how to make sure that you monitor your revenue, where they came from. Then we talked about balance sheet, but then we're going to be talking about businesses, how you get to know you are where you need to be, or whether your assets, they are working for you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a topic for everyone. If you own a business, maybe you're spending too much money with accountants out there. Not to discount the work of accountants, but there's basic work that you need to reduce your costs. If you don't reduce your cost, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be working harder. But we're going to be talking about that, and then we can see options you can have. Maybe you need a certificate or a college degree in a particular area if you're interested in a particular item. So let's talk about supermarkets and what I observed, ladies and gentlemen, in this week that I'm designating as a week for community service, community responsibility. So, when I'm waiting in a Giant's grocery store, commonly I see people with 20 things going to the express lane. What's up with that? You have 20 things. It's 1 or 2, 3, maybe less than 10 items. And they are carrying a whole cart to the express lane. What are you doing? Because that lane is designated to make sure that it can make sure the traffic keeps moving for those respecting people with a few items, instead of queuing behind someone with a cart full of items and groceries. They can pass quickly. That makes only good sense, right? It is really a courtesy we are given by grocery stores. But then you go pick up your 20, 30 things and you are just busy going through the express lane. So we have someone calling in, Sam from Washington, D.C. I'm going to let Sam from Washington, D.C. come on in. So, Sam, you are on the air. What do you have in mind?
Dr. Jeff.
Yes.
How are you, Dr. Jeff? Big fan, Sam Smith.
How are you doing, Mr. Sam Smith? You are on the air. What do you have in mind? How you like Transition Point?
I am loving Transition Point. You made such a great point about how people drive, and I've just been listening so faithfully and enjoying it. So I want to have a question. What are some other hints that you have for people who need to, I guess, kind of don't feel comfortable with being the most expert driver?
Can you say it again? The people who don't feel comfortable with what?
With their driving. Like, what are some things that we can all improve on in terms of driving, especially in the DC area?
Yes, DC area. Like, really, I am so glad, Sam, because I was wondering whether I'm making a point, whether anybody's listening and whether they are taking notes here. And you make my day, first of all. And I'll tell you, there are many more pointers, because safety, it is number one. You have people with cars, with kids in the car. You have people who, there is police, activity somewhere. Some people are kind of, instead of minding their business. This is a biggie for me. When you see police activity, please, you have not been stopped by anybody yet. You keep moving, because when you are rubbernecking, you start causing, you're inspecting a car that is broken and everything else. There is already a police in there. You're not a policeman. So in DC, the traffic is moving quick. People are going to work. Remember, this is a busy area. It's a metro area. So the more you be courteous in places where traffic is slow, police activity, or an accident is happening, you just mind your business. You keep going. Now, when someone is kind kind of, irritated and they start kind of talking back to you, take a deep breath. And when you take a deep breath so that you do not talk back, you don't know these people very well, to avoid personal confrontation. So those are some of other pointers that are big to me so that the traffic can keep going. And also, when you are, when you go home, you are irritated. It can affect your family. When you go to work and you are irritated, it can affect your performance. You need to protect yourself as a human being and your brain. So, and also, you know what else you can do as a community person? You can actually tell other people what they can practice. You do not have to go to the military to serve your country. You do not have to wear a uniform. Reagan sometime said that the greatness of America is found within ourselves, in our families. So you can start practicing how to be great to others and teaching others what to do. And there you have it. You can serve your country that way, Sam.
Sham, I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
What do you think is the oldest that, legally, you should be allowed to drive in America? My grandmother is 84 and she's still holding on. What do you think is the oldest person should be allowed to drive?
That is very interesting, Sam. That is very interesting. Sam, you're making me laugh. But yeah, that's an interesting question. And I have seen people who, I think that would be answered better by DMV, but I can tell you, I associate with you in terms of, I've seen really people who are dangerously driving because they are old and they may not be now, they are not coordinated properly. Because at the end of the day, driving means to come with safety. And age sometimes is not necessarily the driving factor. I'll tell you what, you can be 50 or 40 and you have a particular disease, and then when safety is compromised, even if you are 30, you keep off, you stop driving. And you can also, observe your family members who are driving unsafely, and you can tell them, ma'am, dad, it is time. I've just had a friend of mine who just called the parents and told her parents that, dad, you are now 80s, you still want to hang on to the steering wheel. They are supposed to come and visit them in Maryland from Kentucky, and she told them, fly in. And we'll pick you up in the airport. So you have to be part of the community, watching your parents, watching everybody else, and it could be even younger. And because of certain circumstances, I think we are responsible. We are our brother's keeper, Sam. So thank you so much for your question. You made my day. At least my points were made.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Doc. I'll be calling back next week.
Absolutely. We are glad to have you. Continue being a fan. Tell other people about this station. All right.
I will do. Thank you.
Thank you. So we move on to the supermarket etiquette. And if you're listening, feel free to call again. Sam just called and made my day, because these are things that are important to me. They make sense. So when you're on the express lane of the supermarket, please try to kind of stay on the express lane when you have just maybe less than 10 items. Now, for those who are joining us now, please call 800-450-7876. 800-450-7876, because we want you to participate. We want you to make comments. We want you to be part of this show. I said this show is yours for the asking. This is Transition Point, where you change your life for life for good. And that's what I'm here for. Ladies and gentlemen, I've written a lot. And those who we participated together, and time to time I'll be giving my life story from grasslands of Africa to Wall Street, New York, being a university campus dean and being a professor. I have seen enough. And when I say these things, I'm not just guessing. I'm not on the radio just to make a name. I'm not on the radio just because I can speak. I am telling you, I'm here to make a difference. And if I can make one life at a time in Washington, D.C. metro area, that will be my happiness. So call in 800-450-7876. Let's dialogue. Let's talk about it. All right. Supermarket again. Double check your groceries when you are waiting. Oh my goodness. You have a cart full of groceries and you get on the phone, and you know I'm so much on the phone item. You realize that. You start talking to the phone, you don't realize you have left a couple of items. Make a list of what you want, because you are kind of sharing the grocery store with many other people. Then when you come to the lane, my goodness, oh, I have forgotten 2 things, and you are at the cashier. How annoying is that? You have forgotten 2 items and you're next to the cashier, then you have to stop your cart up there and then run inside to the aisle. What are you doing? Come on, man. You need to make a list before you leave. It takes a minute, and then all the things that you want, then you go to the grocery store. Make a check mark. Check, check, check. Then when you go to the cashier, you are ready. So those are some of the things that, you know, to you is no big deal. Actually, to cashier, maybe a big deal, or not even so much of a big deal, because she's there to work. But if there are other people who are waiting to move on, if you have a membership card and you are getting ready, you are on the line, please, even before you come from home, get your stuff ready. You know where the money is, you know where your credit card is, you know where your, store card is. So you are ready when you go there, pay, move on, and keep going. Oh my goodness. I have been, it doesn't matter whether it's in a grocery store or just in, Best Buy or anywhere else, in a big store. Oh, you get to the cashier and then you start looking for stuff for the card. Oh, I had it here. I don't know whether I left it in the car. I don't know, in this wallet. All that wallet, people are just behind, just looking at you, biting their lower lips, and you're like, what are you doing? You need to know. You went to the supermarket. You are supposed to know where your stuff is. So please, when you go to the supermarket, make sure that you are ready. Even with your checks. This is very interesting. Please, you've been signing your check forever, right? Why are you taking 10 minutes to make a signature you have been doing for almost your whole life? Signature should be 2 minutes. Somebody takes the check, turns the check around, and starts drawing the signature. Takes forever. I'm telling you, those are some of the common courtesy items that we need to observe. Sign it, keep moving, give the check, and let it go. If there are no baggers or people who are trying to bag your groceries, just go and bag them for yourself. Come on. I have seen people looking around. There's nobody to put my stuff in my bags or in my plastic bags, and I can't move. I'm not moving now. There is nobody bagging my stuff. Come on, man. You picked up this stuff. You know what it means? It means you can also put it in the bags. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's practice courtesy on a daily basis. Things, common sense items. These are places, driving, grocery stores where we are every single day. When you find yourself in a store, practice patience, because you're gonna go to the store every single day, or majority of your life you're gonna spend going to your grocery store, or to your whatever store it is, whichever you go, Target, everywhere. There's a lot of patience that needs to be practiced. Please, you're going to practice. If you start getting irritated and out of control of yourself, how many times is it going to be? How many times are you going to allow yourself to be irritated by being on the line on a grocery store? You're going to go again and again. Practice patience and be polite, okay, to the cashiers. Oh my goodness. I remember the days when I was new. And you're trying to push me. I know I don't know. Please remember, there are some cashiers who don't know exactly what they are doing because they are new and they needed somewhere to begin. Observe those kind of behaviors and characteristics. Be polite to them. I'm telling you, you got to practice politeness. Talk to the cashiers nice. Be patient with them if they are new. And then when you leave the cashier place or you're going to your car, you feel a sense of accomplishment. You have even helped another person pass a milestone of being a cashier. So ladies and gentlemen, this is really common courtesy. Man, I'm going to distance. I'm going to the bone. Right now, I am not kidding. I'm not kidding. We are leaving it in the field. There are some things that nobody says. And we need to say them directly because these things affect us on daily living. And I'll tell you, we need to talk about them. Okay? I can tell you, I remember people just pushing a cart. When I'm ahead and somebody forgets, it's on the phone, pushing a cart and just talking or fighting with somebody on the phone, they push the cart, it's pushing on my behind. You are not watching where you're going. You start pushing the cart, slowly, it starts pushing someone with the kids. You got to be aware of what is going on around you. Or some people in the aisles, they are talking on the phone. Let people pass. You're on target and then you stand in the middle of the aisle. Where am I supposed to go through? Where is everybody supposed to go through? These are things common courtesy because we're going to go to the store again and again. We're going to share that store. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to talk about it. I told you, this is a show that is different. It's a transition point. Again, if you want to call 800-450-7876. 800-450-7876. You know, I noticed the other day a new register opened when I was waiting. You know, and I just went into the new register. In fact, I talked to the cashier and asked the cashier, is that register opening? And the person told me, yes, I went there. That is not line cutting. So that is politeness. I was just aware of my surroundings. Everybody else was just waiting. You can do that. Okay? If you believe someone has, because this brings us to cutting the line. If you believe someone has cut the line, please do not necessarily talk to them directly. If someone is looking for where to stand, you can tell them the line stands or starts over there nicely. If they cut the line, take a breath and just relax. And then if you can let them go, but then in a nice way, if there's a chance, you can tell them the line was there, but you can go. However, is it fair to the rest of the people? Either. But if you really feel that was not fair, you can talk to the manager, you can talk to the cashier nicely, but confronting people in a grocery store, it is not a good thing. I don't like seeing those confrontations. You can talk to the manager and that can be resolved. Do not take it into your own hands. I have seen people down on bank lines. I worked in a bank for a long time. I've seen them down, fighting physically. So it is not worth it. Okay? And you know what makes me laugh? Not even laugh, kind of wonder. When you buy something and you start eating it before you pay for it. You have cookies in your hand and then you rip off the bag and you start eating it. What if your card bounces? It is not a good idea to do it. It's not a good mannerism or that kind of drives me nuts, definitely. But then when I see people pick up one item and then move it and then try to tuck it in a different section. These people, there's a formula to the madness. Don't take one thing and leave it somewhere else, and you're even making an effort to hide it. They will never find it. Their grocery store counting is going to go wrong. Life does. They don't care if you take it to the front. Yeah, they want it to the front so that they can return it. It's like a book library. You pick up a book and you tuck it in the wrong place. We'll never find it. It's common courtesy. Oh my goodness. We are talking about it here, ladies and gentlemen. Phones of measure, I have kind of covered that. And you know what? I'm going to leave it there because I want to talk about measures of performance. So ladies and gentlemen, those who are in now, coming in, this is transition point. If you want to call in, participate is 800-450-7876. Again, it's transition point 450-7876. We are here every Saturday, 1 to 2 p.m. on AM radio 1450. FM radio, we are on HD2 dial. Measures of performance, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. I can go as deep as I want or as light. I would like this to be everybody's audience. And ladies and gentlemen, what is measures of performance? I took time to think about it, and I know a lot of people are in the businesses. But I hate to see people with grocery stores, with small businesses, and every time they have to go to the accountants, they don't even know how their businesses are performing. This is very important to me. How do you measure whether your business is doing what it's supposed to do? We talk of things called profitability. I know this is getting good for some people, students and everybody else, but you know what? Everybody with a business or with a mind that wants to go to business, this is for you. Transition point, making a difference in your life forever. We talk about profitability. You can check how profitable you are trying to do. There are measures for that. Then there is liquidity. How liquid you are. How are you able to pay your bills as they fall due? Solvency. You know, how solvent are you? Are you able to support can your assets support your debts, all of them? How solvent are you? If you had to dissolve your business, can you cover all the liabilities or the debts? Financial efficiency, whether your assets are working as efficient as they should be able to work. And then you can talk about repayment capacity. Oh man, goodness, this is getting good. So profitability, I don't want to get deep because I want to give you the ability to know that these things exist. As a matter of fact, if you took a certificate on them, you can even probably encourage you to take a certificate on them or read more on them or get a degree in them. If you're going to do business, you better know how the business works. I don't like this idea. You're going to go in business and then you start wondering what's happening in your business. You better have your ducks on the wall so that you can move quickly. You know, there are many measures. Okay, some of them they are called rate on return on assets. You know, accounts, uses kind of complicated language. Rate of return on assets, ROA. Rate of return on equity, ROE. Operating profit margin, OPM, and all those. Basically, you want to know return on investment, or ROI, return on investment. You want to know whether your investment made sense or it took the return that it was supposed to do. If you buy capital goods, you buy a tractor, if you buy an ice cream machine, is it giving you the returns equivalent to what you bought it for? That is what we call, you're trying to look at about whether it is making profit. It should be, because you're probably leasing it, you are paying for it, but is it giving you the returns that you need? That is, you need to know that measure exists. It can be calculated in many different ways, but you know what? I'll be making some, clips on my drjeffspeaking.com, and if you want to look further, you can go in there and try to see how it is done, calculated, because this is radio, so I can't show it directly to you. Then there's measures called liquidity measures, the ability to meet your obligations as they fall due. That is very important, because you need to be able, people are asking you for money. If you kind of took items on credit, you need to be able to sell them, and then once you sell them, you use the money to pay them back. So people are asking you for money, and you are asking people for money, or you are selling your items or goods and services so that you can get the money to cover that. So how are you able to meet your obligations as they fall due? That is what we call the liquidity. How liquid are you? And it is, you look at all your current assets. We define current assets as the items that you can actually sell within a year and get money out of them. We defined what an asset is. An asset is something that you can sell, you own, and you can sell for money. Just because you own something doesn't mean it's an asset. It could be a valuable, something you're given by your grandma and you cannot sell it. That's not an asset. It is just a valuable, but things you can sell. So current assets, all assets that you can be able to sell for money, and you divide them or you compare them with the current liabilities, people who are asking you for money. That is what we call current ratio. The current assets, things you can sell for money, you compare it with things that you compare it with those obligations that are being requested to you. We call that current ratio. You start using it from today. That's current assets over current liabilities. Solvency, how solvent you are. Can you sell your assets and cover your debts? That's very serious. Debt, you look at the debt you have and you divide that debt over the assets that you have. And because it's expressed as a percentage, you multiply that by 100. Listen to that again, ladies and gentlemen. Solvency. How solvent you are. Can you sell all your assets to cover all your debts? It's called the solvency. Solvency is it really concentrates on the debts that you have. If you had certain amount of debt and you divide that debt, you compare it to the assets, or you divide it by assets, then you multiply by 100. You get the percentage. We are going to distance on this. Then there is financial efficiency. We can talk about that at another day. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored, listeners. You know, I'm really honored to have you as my listeners, because I told you we are making difference. We bring you the skills that make a lot, to make a difference in you. We reduce the clutter in your life. To live success is a clear target, like I always say, so that you can own it. We give you the layups. It's up to you to pick and roll. You dunk it. Go home with the ball too. I am telling you, I am here to make a difference. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to my website, drjeffspeaking.com. Dr like a dog, Richard, drjeffspeaking.com. And you can read more. In fact, you get some of the clips I've made before, Dr. Willie Jolly, all over the place. And I tell you something else. You can go to that place and do a shop. I've written 2 beautiful books, Succeeding in the Face of Challenge. So when I talk about succeeding in the face of challenge, I mean it. I've written about it, succeeding as a student, how to negotiate your salary, how to negotiate your salary, how to make sure that you can succeed at work. There's logic to that. Leadership, everything else, we can do that. You go buy those books. It's only $19.99, and I can tell you, if you buy those books, you are not just buying for the sake of giving me extra financial revenue. You are trying to make sure that I keep bringing this program to you without failure. And I'll tell you, I'm very thankful. I am looking forward to talk to you next week.